up, guys? I'm Alex Mac, part of the Call to Action crew, and I'm here with one of the real loves of my life, Miss Boo Boo herself. What up, Kelsey? Oh, up here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's been a little bit since I've been on Schmoebates, and I'm super excited to be back, especially for this competition, because holy cow, are we in stores for some awesomeness.
Oh my gosh, so much awesomeness to go around. We have two amazing competitors. Belford, he's played in several matches himself, actually earlier in the Schmoebates season, but also he's going to be going up against a William the Beast Bibbiani as well. Both obviously fantastic competitors. Belford is technically sitting at 2-0 with no losses under his belt, but also Bibbs, he's coming off hot off of his really fantastic win against John the Outlaw Roca himself. So I have a feeling we're in some solid arguments overall.
I am too. I think this is going to be epic. I'm so excited.
Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into it with our first competitor. So you may know him as a beast. You might know him as, part one of the Shazam, team. Definitely one of my favorite teams of all time when it comes to Schmoedown. But who am I other than just a mega super duper fan? Mr. Bibbs.
Oh, you're nice. Hi, everybody. Growl, growl. Growl, growl, growl.
So much growls indeed. And actually, for sure, growl, 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 growl.
Commentating nude, I appreciate that, and you're my favoriteest too.
For sure. Yeah, he's a pretty cool fella, that's for sure. Now, I know, like I said, you just came off of your match with Roca just like a little over a month ago. So going into this match, do you feel a little nervous at all or no?
Oh, I'm completely unprepared. I haven't looked at the internet in like a month and a half. I haven't seen a single Schmoedown match. Since then, I am just jumping in, seat in my pants, hoping that beginner's luck is going to carry me.
You know what? Beginner's luck is a real thing, but something to account for it. I feel like you do have some real talent as well.
And, I'm very loud, and that carries me very far. It makes it sound like I'm making good arguments, even when I'm not.
You know what? You got to fake it till you make it sometimes.
Solid strategy.
All right, now for our next competitor, he's definitely one of the most iconic members of the Action Army. Christian himself has called him probably his favorite Schmoedown fan of all time. It is Billy Belford. Oh my gosh, the icon, the man, the myth, the legend. What up, my man?
Not much. I'm just excited to Schmoebate. Is that the verbiage? Is that
Schmoebate?
Yes. The verbing that we do? I'm excited. I'm going to try to channel my inner Mark Singer. I also ate 7 dozen eggs just in case, because we know that 5 isn't enough to
never
slay the beast. So 7 eggs. Got a little tummy ache, but it's worth it. So
I understood all the movie references, and I'm so excited to hear.
Bonus points for movie references. Is that a thing? No bonus.
No, maybe I don't know. Maybe.
Ironically, I'm the one who's roughly the size of a barge, so that's fine.
I'm also barge adjacent, sir. So we're
we are roughly the size of a barge.
Anyway,
really interesting to face off against someone who make complete sentences this time. The first 2 times I wasn't sure what my opponents were saying, so tonight will be different. Tonight will be a respected critic and auteur.
I was mostly planning on screaming profanity until my time was up. So now the bar's raised.
Whoa!
The bar's been raised, and now I'll actually have to give it a try. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Some profanity here and there in some arguments sometimes just emphasizes the point is being made. I mean, Danielle, our winner from our Schmoebate last time, she's actually going to be going up against one of you guys in the future. She actually won our previous round, and so in the next round, you guys have to face her. So let's see. Oh, yeah, but look at these wonderful people. BCD says Bibbs needs to audition for a movie musical because that was beautiful and amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome.
I've been wanting to do a karaoke competition, Schmoedown episode for forever, and they've always said no.
Have you not done karaoke with Video Drew?
No, I've never done karaoke with Video Drew.
Why not?
There's a strong vibe of karaoke throughout the Schmoedown.
So
There's
we like her music.
Ben Bateman does his nerd singing songs.
Yeah.
Show.
There's a lot of nerding. There's a lot of random 90s tunes. There's a lot
if
of.
I learned how to play a ukulele, I'd have my own YouTube channel, but I never did. So here I am.
There's time.
It's never too
There
late.
is always time. I feel like we can talk about karaoke and ukulele playing for ages to come because, the best ukulele player of all time is definitely Shannon Barney, as exhibited in her previous, promos and videos, for corruption. That's for dang sure. Now, if you've never been a part of, watching, Schmoebates or anything before, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us. We are a debate show that really kind of focuses on Schmoedown-themed arguments. So for example, some arguments have been made of who's the best Schmoedown personality to go on a road trip with? What was the best belt match in Schmoedown history? So a lot of big questions, a lot of weird questions are going to be argued here tonight. So going into it, we're going to be starting with our first round. We have 3 questions today. For our first round, we're going to be starting with the Beast himself with 1 minute for an opening statement, followed by 4 minutes of open debate and 1 minute of closing debate as well. For the first question, like I said, we'll be starting with Bibbs. The second question, vice versa, with Belford. And for the last question, we'll be using this wonderful and beautiful Action Army coin to determine who is going to go first, essentially. And we've already decided that ahead of time. You guys, you ready?
Ready.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I am going to go ahead and pull up the question here in a hot second. Kelsey, please do us the honor.
Yes. Question 1. In a championship match, which round is the most important?
Different from a regular match, there's a few extra rounds to consider when making your selection. Starting with you, Bibbs, you have 1 minute on the clock to let us know, starting now.
Okay. Every round in a championship match is important. We can all understand that. However, there is only one round in the championship match which is completely unlike any other round in any other match, and that is the speed round. The speed round differs in a variety of ways. It actually requires the players to be quick in order to get an answer correct. You can steal an answer from an opponent. You can lose points in the process. You're required to use different forms of technology that you never get to practice with unless you're about to do a championship match. A lot of people aren't prepared for a speed round. A lot of people lose a lot of points in a speed round. A speed round can be the thing that makes a lead completely undefeatable. It can also take someone in the lead and can put them in last place real fast. It is the round that can change everything, the round that some people have absolutely no idea what to do with, and a round that personally I have found in championship matches can mean all or nothing.
And time.
Ooh, great arguments. Going into it, I'm not going to lie, when you said speed round in the chat, I was like, really? But after hearing your arguments, that makes complete sense. All right. Moving over to you, Billy, you also have 1 minute on the clock to let us know your selection for a most important round in a championship match. Starting right now.
So for me, the most important round is the betting round and the betting round compares on similar levels to the speed round. There are the 2 rounds where you can have the biggest swings. The betting round, you can have a 6-point swing. The speed round, you can only have a 5-point swing. Also, the betting round is the round that really puts pressure on people. You have to think outside the box of how are you going to wager. It's also the round where you know the category before everything else, and then you have to wager points on how well you know that category. There's added pressure built in there. It's also it can win it or it can lose it for you in a heartbeat. There are different strategies for it, and several times it is shown that it is the difference between winning and losing, how someone wagers in the betting round. It also has added strategy of adding in different categories in the hopes of getting that hitting it there.
Okay.
Ooh, solid arguments. Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Going into it, I was like, okay, it's just like any other match. I feel like personally the second round is much more important. But hearing these opening statements, I feel like both of these are really, even better options than what I thought with for the second round. So speed round, you mentioned Bibbs physicality that's involved. You can both gain and lose points. The technology aspect, it can definitely make or break you really quick. You can go from first to second real fast, but also it can be very difficult to ace as well, because if you think you're gonna quit, if you're confident in it, it can definitely go against you as well. But Belford, you mentioned that's a solid 6-point swing versus Bibbs' 5-point swing. So like you said, it is worth more in terms of points, but also the points wagering, you have to think outside the box. There's more pressure. It can also make or break you. Kelsey, what did you think of these picks?
I thought they were really interesting. I love that they are both picks that are specific to the championship matches. Like, these are only ever in championship matches. So you really only prep for them if you're going to be in one. So I can see why they're just so important to ace if you're going to be in a championship. So I like both. I think both are very solid choices.
Absolutely, for sure. Not to mention, you can't really be a champion, like a championship level competitor, without feeling confident in training effectively for these rounds in particular. Sometimes because a lot of cases they're not really thought about until the very end, but it's really good to kind of be proactive in that training process. Okay, well, you guys have 4 minutes. Crazy, I know, 4 whole minutes to make your arguments against each other. Profanities, go cray, do whatever you want to do. Let us know. Please take turns. But at the same time, it's like we definitely don't monetize like all 3-4 minutes kind of thing. So, all right, okay, is it going to be the betting round or speed round? You guys got 4 minutes starting now.
Poopy. Okay, now that the profanity's out of the way.
Dash.
Okay, here's the deal. Okay. First off, excellent points made, and both of these rounds have indeed made and broken matches before. However, there are significant differences between the betting round and the speed round. Belford brought up the fact that there is potentially a 6-point swing in the betting round. There was also very easily a 0-point swing in the betting round, because as Dan Murrell showed us in the most recent singles title match, you can completely neutralize the very existence of the betting round by just betting 0. If you have a lead of more than a couple of points and you are not 100% confident in a category, you can bet 0 and the betting round means next to nothing. So that is something that's really important. Whereas in the speed round, you're getting those points lost or taken no matter what.
Not true, because we have seen in the speed round where people refuse to answer questions, refuse to ring in. In fact, we've had it where almost 3 questions were just completely not even answered. In the betting round, at least you have to answer. You might bid 0, you might bid 3, but you answer the question.
But the difference is and I've actually been in a speed round where between me and Merle, where neither of us even bothered answering the question. That is indeed a strategy. That is something you can have. However, that is a huge risk. And if you decide to wait out the question, what you are also doing is giving your opponent an opportunity to just think of the answer. So it's actually it's more dangerous, depending on the point swing, to potentially let a speed round question go than it is to potentially, bet 3 points or whatever. So the speed round is very, very different here. The other thing is that, the category going into a wager round. That's all well and good. The speed round is a variety of different categories and a variety of different formats. They are presented in such a way to try to trick you into answering a question incorrectly. However, sometimes trying to guess where a question is going halfway through a question is the difference between getting the question and losing the question. So there's a lot more danger in a speed round that can actually make or break a game.
The speed round has also become, let me ring in as quickly as possible. You've seen Paul Oyama do it. You've seen Ben Bateman do it. And I'm going to just jump the gun and answer the question in the hope of getting that point. Because there's less risk. I might lose a point, but that's it. You don't gain a point as well. In the betting round, if I bet 3, and I miss it, I lose 3 points, no matter what you do.
Exactly.
So that adds to the danger of the betting round.
Which is why... Sorry,
also, the round happens before the speed round. Yeah. Sometimes matches are over by the time you get to the speed round. I mean,
that's very, very uncommon. In fact, it is far more common in a championship match for a speed round to make the 5th round completely unnecessary. And we've seen that happen time and time again. That happened in the first Shy Wolves championship match. That happened with Kevin Smets. That happened with Ben Bateman and Paul Oyama. We've seen time and time again the speed round. Sam Levine was a master of a speed round. He could take an L and turn it into a W in 1 round alone. Because here's the thing, with the championship, or really any game, if you're going into the final round with more than 5 points difference, there's a really excellent chance you're going to lose. Very few people have ever won a Schmoedown with more than 5 when you're more than 5 points down, because it would all come down to that final question. That 5 points can be entirely made up in a speed round based on your skill, not the luck of your opponent betting badly. You actually have to do it all on your own. That is way more important, and it is way more likely that you
I would also argue though that the difficulty of the questions are more difficult in the betting round than the speed round. Yeah, they try to trick you a little bit, but typically it's not a difficult question. It's not a deep dive. It's not a tough pull. It is like, it's something that most people know. They're round 1 type questions in the speed round.
But you only have 2 seconds to answer them, and
time. Woo!
Woo!
You guys want to go take a water break?
I actually have a water right now. I'm good.
Yeah,
it's like
be prepared.
Be prepared.
Because if anything, I think you guys need to drink some caffeine or maybe some Red Bull, because the energy wasn't there. Totally.
Oh my God! What is the energy, Bibbs?
It just wasn't there.
Smack!
That's more like it.
Yeah, so we have like several people in the chat that are really, they're definitely, going on both sides here. Eric Chan is quick to say speed round is more important because it is right before the last round, the last chance to answer the same question. So great point for sure. But also, a little bit, Ryan said Bateman picked up the last 2 points in Atlanta and helped him get to sudden death in overtime. So that makes total sense. But also, Jake says, are we giving Bibbs the honorary call sign Poopy?
We are not doing that. I veto that. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. We're done. In fact, I want this video deleted off the internet. Okay. I will not sign a release.
We're going to get a copyright strike.
I was like, I'm waiting for.
We're just going to start playing Star Wars in the background as loudly as possible, so we definitely get a copyright strike.
Like Led Zeppelin at full blast, yeah.
I would love that. Love that.
Sure you would.
Okay. Yeah. What? No. Okay, so again, these are two, I feel like they're both very correct answers. There's points where both of you guys were talking where I was like, Bibbs is going to win. Belford is going to win based off these arguments. So I really feel iffy on who I would side with at this point. So I'm really kind of excited to see how you guys are going to really solidify it for one in your favor. Kelsey, what did you think about the arguments?
I felt very similar to you the whole entire time. I'm like, well, clearly Bibbs is right. Well, clearly Belford's right. Wait, no, clearly Bibbs is right. And so now I am so torn. I think this final round is going to be the decision maker for a lot of people in the chat as well, because I feel like it's really tight right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, I did hear some mentions, Bibbs, you did actually mention several matches where, describing how pivotal the speed round was. Belford, I would love to hear, some kind of a follow-up to that. Were they, in those matches, were they not as important as, Bibbs made it seem? Or were there matches where, if anything, the betting round was significantly more important to the speed round in any championship matches as well? I would love to see kind of follow from that, because I didn't hear any kind of response from that in particular. Okay, now we are going to be going into our third round. For our third round, it's going to be 1 minute apiece to really address those questions. But also, they are here to guarantee your votes. Now, Kelsey and I, as cool as we are, as pretty as we are sometimes, we're not the ones determining who's going to walk away a win today. That's you guys, the vote that are going to be voting on Twitter. You guys determine who's going to be walking away today with bragging rights. So don't wait, until tomorrow or whatever. Maybe you say after finishing them talking about their closing statements, then you can decide after hearing them if you should want to go in favor of Belford or Bibbs. So let's do it. You have 1 minute on the clock, starting with Bibbs. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Starting now.
Okay, I want to thank Eric Chan because you made an excellent point. Because the speed round comes after the betting round could be completely neutralized by the speed round heading us into the final round. That is an important thing. The other thing is that I really wanted to get more into is that because you don't get to practice a speed round, you get to practice answering questions all the time. Betting is only one small aspect of it. The speed round, the technology, the intensity of it, the make it or break it, will they or won't they, this is the moment right now. I'm not going to miss my shot. That right there is the kind of intensity that can completely annihilate an inexperienced player and can make it almost impossible to beat Dan Murrell. Trust me, I know. All right. So this is actually like incredibly important. You need to practice, you need to hone, you need to be ready, and you need to be playing at a level and at an intensity that you were completely unable to at any other time. The speed round is unlike anything else, and it is almost impossible to win a game without it. I yield my last second.
All right. Wow, that's pretty darn perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounded like overall, like you said, it came after, but it almost, depending on your performance, it definitely can neutralize the necessity of the betting round, essentially. Is that correct?
Yes, that was my point.
Okay. Got it. All right. Over to Belford. You also have 1 minute on the clock to really, it's kind of do with whatever you want to do. Really get everyone in your favor and vote in favor of you today. So you also have 1 minute on the clock. You ready?
Ready.
Starting now.
I'm going to talk about one match, and that's the most recent title match between Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman when Dan Murrell re-won the title. Because we had very interesting things happen in both of these rounds, the speed round and the betting round. First in the betting round, Dan Murrell bids 0. Ben Bateman spinner's choice gets to pick the most obscure category on the board that he's studied and has now gotten 3 points, 3-0. And then in the speed round, Bateman blows him away, obliterates him. In fact, but who wins the match? It's Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell still wins the match because Dan Murrell is notoriously not a good speed round player, but he's the GOAT. You're telling me the GOAT can be not good at that sort of round, but can still win as many titles as he won and be considered the greatest player of all time? Takes away a lot of how really important is the speed round if Dan Murrell isn't really good at it and doesn't even train to be better at it, because I'm just gonna be better in every other round, especially strategizing in the betting round where he bid 0. And that's what everyone was talking about afterwards, was that bidding 0, not the speed.
And time. Oh, shnikes.
Sounds like you're arguing in favor of round 5 there at the end.
What's kind of interesting to me is that, Bibbs, you actually mentioned several matches that that are in favor of the speed round, but also at the same time, arguably one of the best championship matches of all time was a lot of people pretty darn say it's between Murrell and Bateman. So it's kind of interesting. Like I said, it's arguable.
I have a different take on that match than most people do, but that's a subject for another time.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I had a different takeaway from that whole match than what a lot of people took away from it.
That's true. It's regardless, a championship match is it's a battle between champions. You have to be amazing to get to that level, and no matter what, they always deserve our respect. All right. And now you can go and vote right now. You heard the closing statements, so you can vote right now on Twitter. Thank you so much, Jake, for pulling that for us. Now you can let the arguments really marinate and wait until the end of all the arguments today, or you can vote right now while everything is still fresh for you. In favor of Bibbs or Belford, totally up to you. It's not for Kelsey and I to decide. It's for you guys. So,
and I will not be offended. I will not be offended. I want everyone to know it's all good.
A lot of people are
very offended.
No, all right, I'm voting for Billy. That's it. I don't want to offend him. There we go. Click.
Are asking, Kansha says, I want to hear Belford's Spanish.
Yo hablo Norwegian. Yo puedo hablar sobre este tópico si quieres. Yo listo para Dani Ramírez después de este hombre muy fabuloso aquí, pero yo listo para ganar todo. That was just gibberish, by the way.
How dare you? Oh, it's just so casually whipping out those cool words. Jealous.
It works really well when you appear as white as I do, when you speak fluent Spanish. It's like a parlor trick.
Surprise!
Sadly. Yeah, that's a whole thing right there. Absolutely. Okay, so we are going to be going into the second question. And this one right now, more than ever, a lot of the faction standings are changing. They're changing quite a little bit between, managers are definitely like showing their stuff as far as, how great so many of these rookie competitors and everything are. And even with I feel like we had 20 matches released this week. That changed, the standings quite a bit. So we're going to be diving into the second question. Kelsey, my love.
Yes.
You do the honors and read the question.
I would be happy to. Question 2. Which faction is most likely to have the most dramatic ranking change?
Yes. We have several competitors, managers really, that are really hardcore investing in a few competitors. So no pressure, Dungeon. Corruption. So let's go on into it. Okay, we're gonna be starting with Billy. You was like last time we started with Bibbs. We're gonna be starting with you for this question. You have 1 minute to make your opening statement. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you ready?
2 of those 3 at least.
Well, fingers crossed. Let's work out well. All right, 1 minute starting now.
Okay, so to maximize the amount of points necessary to change your ranking, to have a dramatic ranking, you really have to be invested into these tournaments that are going on right now, because Star Wars and IG are both worth more points than normal matches. So it's an opportunity to really put away a lot of points. And for me, the team that's best situated is Corruption. Corruption has Laura Kelly in the Star Wars tournament, who just had a huge win, and then they have former IG champion Mike Kalinowski, and they have Chance Ellison in the IG tournament. Chance Ellison in his only IG match did amazingly. I mean, he lost to the greatest IG player of all time, Brandon Hanna, in that 5-way, but it was very close. Went down to the line. He scored more points than Sean Drew, the Chosen One. So he set up very nicely to have a nice run in the IG tournament, and they could scoop up a lot of points. And that's really the name of the game, because we don't really know what's going to happen second half of the season. These are guaranteed points that are on the board you can take right now.
Okay.
Ooh. Absolutely. I'm also a little distraught no one chose Dungeon. But
distraught, it's fine.
Okay. Fine. That's cool, guys. That's cool. All right. You also have 1 minute, Bibbs, to let us know which faction is most likely to have the most dramatic ranking change. All right. You also have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
I am as ready as I'm going to get.
Fingers crossed. Let's see how this goes. 1 minute starting now.
Okay, you got to look at who has. You're looking at who has the most potential to go up in the rankings. I'm looking at who has the most potential to go down in the rankings. And although some of the highest ranked factions are probably likely to stay up just because they've racked up so many points, the faction I'm looking at to go from the middle all the way down, and I'm sorry, I love almost everyone in here, but the Usual Suspects. The Usual Suspects was dealt a hard blow at the beginning of the year when they lost Drew McQueenie, and now they're kind of flailing a little bit. They have people in the Inner Geekdom tournament who have never played Inner Geekdom before. You got Janine and Jen Kempe. They're going to be going up against Alex Damon, and I'm sorry, my own quirky merc, John Humphrey, who I think is a demon at this, and he's going to be amazing. It seems unlikely that they're going to win more than 1 or 2 matches apiece, meaning everyone else is going to smoke them and get more points than the Usual Suspects. As for the Star Wars tournament, I mean, look, I would lose any match against Molly Damon in Star Wars, but after this, she's going to go up against...
Whammy! Okay.
Wow.
Oh, ding dong. We have Corruption versus the Usual Suspects, and one is arguing for a huge increase, and the other is arguing in favor of a huge decrease. And
yeah,
and I how dare you at the same time? I as a patron of critically acclaimed, I actually, I love that one. I love you. I love Whitney. At the same time, how dare you? What
Look, he took the obvious one. I had to go with something else.
Welcome to round 2, where that happens. For
In Schmoebates, round 2 is most important.
Oh yeah,
it is. Okay. So, like you said, one in favor of the biggest dramatic increase versus decrease. I'm excited to see how these are going to change, and I would be excited to hear specifics on where you think their points might wind up, specifically in the rankings as well. I would love to see you guys touch on that. Kelsey, is there anything about these particular arguments that really kind of calls out to you that you're excited to hear them argue?
I'm just really excited by how different the approaches are. I was expecting both of them to be who gets the highest. So the fact that we are not only totally different factions, totally different strategies of where the factions are going. I am super excited for this round. This is going to be awesome.
No pressure, y'all. No pressure at all.
Tons of pressure. All the pressure.
All right. We are going into our open debate. You guys have 4 minutes starting right now.
Okay.
The only thing about you have a team that's in the middle, and you're hoping that they're going to go to the bottom.
Well, I don't hope for anything. I'm a nice guy. I'm just talking about the odds.
Okay, you think that might happen as a possibility. The only thing about that is it requires other teams to pass them as well. Otherwise,
I'm looking at the brackets, and I think that's going to happen.
I don't know if it's going to be that dramatic, though. I think it's going to be a slow fall to the bottom. It's not going to be that dramatic.
But hold on, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It just have to get down to the bottom by the end, and I think that's likely to happen because the usual suspects. The usual suspects. You know, at the beginning of this season, we didn't realize how intense Inner Geekdom and Star Wars were going to be for everything. We thought we were going to have a typical season with a lot of singles and teams matches, and the usual suspects double down on a lot of those players. They do not have a lot of high-ranking Inner Geekdom players, a lot of people with a lot of experience in Inner Geekdom. They only have one great Star Wars player, and we know that they're going up against Andrew DiMolanta, who just had the most perfect match in the history of the Schmoedown. Literally no one got a question wrong. It all boiled down to who got a question more right. This is a troubling time to be in the usual suspects. I'm not saying they can't pull it out, but if they could pull it out, it's because all of a sudden there's a cure for a virus, and we can have teams tournament back again, and we can bring in everybody for more singles matches on top of a tournament, because, man, they have got all of their eggs in one basket. And frankly, I think that's true for Corruption as well, and that's one of the problems. They have got a lot of their eggs in the baskets of Chance Ellison, who is a brilliant competitor, but has bad luck, and it's unfortunately, you just look at his stats, sometimes he loses.
This is a whole new world.
All we have to go on is precedent. And Mike Kalinowski might do very well in Inner Geekdom, but then
he might not. That people don't realize is that he's bad in the studio. He's much better in live events than he is in the studio. And now he's not in either one. He's sitting at home, where he was in the fan leagues and never lost a match sitting in his house, because that's his comfort zone. He sits in his house. He's going to be in the IG tournament. He's going to probably upset Parker. People are going to lose their mind. And then Mike Kalinowski is a tournament, like, he just eats up tournaments, especially the IG tournament. And Rachel Cushing's not here to knock him off anymore. So he's probably going to win the IG tournament. Corruption's good. Laura Kelly's winning the Star Wars tournament. That's over. It's done with. So at the end of this, it's going to be a very dramatic thing. Where
you're betting that Usual Suspects is going to have like 2 more wins for the rest of the season. That's not great. And Chance is going up against 2 absolutely fierce competitors right off the bat. And these are people who aren't resting on their laurels. They are absolutely coming to destroy Chance Ellison. And you have to. They're not going to sleep on him. They've got... Here's the deal. To get Corruption, you have to get 2 people.
Person for a tournament win in Schmoedown history.
To get Corruption, you have to get 2 people. To get Corruption and keep them down at the bottom of the rankings, you only have to get 2 people. That's the end of it. When it comes down to the Usual Suspects, they don't have enough heavy hitters outside of the outside of the divisions, which aren't really playing a lot this season.
They're sitting in the middle,
really in trouble
at the end of it, just like everybody.
Let me just pause for a hot second. I do feel like you guys are making some amazing arguments, but because I feel like there's a little bit more that I want to hear you guys dive into, I do want to give you guys like an extra minute. Okay, so you guys have argued specifically in place of the where you guys are currently the factions, and also the likeliness of your some of the individual current competitors. Belford with corruption, focusing with Laura and also Kalinowski, but chances in his comfort zone working at home, but also the usual suspects. You said the usual suspects might have a guaranteed win, like less than 5 wins for the rest of the entire season. Belford, I would like to hear you make some kind of response to that, honestly. But also, I would love to hear Bibbs. I want to hear some kind of like follow up to how corruption how corruption might do in singles or teams as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you guys are kind of arguing like this, essentially.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna give you extra time though. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's look at corruption here because again, they got 2 top flight players. That's absolutely true. They have a lot of new blood. Even someone like Mark Hoyk, who we all know is very, very intelligent. He's new to the game. Elliot Dewberry has whipped out some good matches, but singles, he doesn't have a good record. And with teams, he's really, really hit or miss. This whole lineup that they've got is a whole bunch of question marks. And so they're resting all of their hopes on 2 people, one of whom has bad luck right now. That's just what we've got to work with. The usual suspects have a lot of people who are in the middle. I think they're all good players. I think they all have potential to be great. I'm in a tricky situation because I know all these people and I love them to pieces. But I honestly think that they have a better chance of doing well in a teams tournament, but we literally cannot do that. Andrew Guy isn't the top level singles competitor right now. I wouldn't underestimate him because he beat Dan Murrell, but we've all seen him struggle against someone like Robert Meyer Burnett as well, where it was actually a close match. So I'm just saying they have a harder road ahead to earn the points that they need to not be in the middle or at the bottom. What you have is you're putting all of your eggs in the basket of 2 players.
That's the dramatic. The question is, which is the most dramatic? And the most dramatic would be corruption, all the eggs in one basket coming together in a dramatic push to move up several spaces very quickly. That's dramatic.
The question is not what's most dramatic. The question is what's most likely. And I'm arguing that although it would be dramatic,
it
would be dramatic for the Finstock Exchange to lose all of their points, but that's not going to happen.
Suspects are just going to like slowly maybe fall to the bottom in the hopes that other teams somehow get wins as well that aren't very good either. They don't have a lot of strengths.
All right. Oh, okay. Oh, shoot. Oh, son of a bitch. Guys.
Language is what you just used to
Captain
express your
America.
thoughts.
Okay.
That's a compliment. I'll take that.
That's fair.
He's very buff.
Okay.
Which one? There's like 4 or 5 of them.
They're all buff. I'll take them all.
They are all buff. Never a like slightly pudgy Captain America. Who would be a much better representation of America.
Thank you.
But also the best superhero, of all time when it comes to the Avengers is Thor. Like through his redemption story, his personal redemption story, physique and all. I'm so excited for him. I really
wasn't a fan of that. As a chubby man, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah,
I loved him like that. I love
that he was allowed to be a badass without working out and like getting buff.
100%.
That saved it for me a lot more than how a lot of other movies didn't have handled body issues. But it does bug me that they use it as a joke beforehand. I just thought
that is a problem.
Thank you. Oh, so you're not perfect, and unless you have the perfect body. Thanks a lot, Shazam. Thanks a lot. Like I thought Avengers compared to Shazam, I thought Avengers handled it slightly better. But I'll grant you they're both problematic.
I would say I really love the if we're going to be just bouncing off of that, I know it's not exactly focused on debate right now, but if we're going to be talking about Thor all that much at all, I really loved how, you can it's his redemption story about how, you can learn from your situation and you can be a man with, or you can be a person with suffering through PTSD or, grief, regret, or whatever the situation is. And you can come back and feel worthy. And I'm so excited for that. And you don't have to be like where you once were physically or whatever it may be, but, you feel it in your soul and that Mjolnir comes to you. Oh, so good. It's magical. It's magical.
So, review of Thor?
You know what?
You're not going to review. The show has
I know.
changed.
It's so good. It's so good. But also, at the very end of the day, Bibbs has America's ass.
You know what? Thank you for that.
I love that.
We've gone from
I think-
pooping to America's ass.
What? Wait.
Hold on. I take this back. I have mixed feelings now.
Oh,
Why do you want America's ass?
I'm going to take that off then. If that's
You've got,
Okay.
like,
Am I
15
America's
diabetes.
ass? No. It's fine. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I clench. I try to get my glutes.
I think we all do. I think we all do for sure.
That's-
Okay, now we are going to be diving into the closing statements. Both of you guys have made a fantastic arguments. I just really want to see you guys just really wrap it up really nicely. Belford, it's like I just really because I really want to hear you just really solidify your argument in favor of corruption because I feel like we didn't get a chance to really hear your side as much as I wanted to, but also Bibbs. I just really want to hear your focus. I kind of want you also just to reaffirm everything, really wrap it up and like hyper focus, I guess, on, how intensely Sam Levine and low-key Rachel Cushing as his non-official advisor, need to be unofficial advisor.
I love them to pieces. Do not make me put them on the spot.
That's
All
fair.
right.
Okay.
All
For
right.
Sam Levine.
Okay.
I would say for Sam Levine, how much pressure, like just how intensely good does this potential team, have to be walking into the team's tournament whenever that will be? So, all right, let's go ahead and reaffirm it. Kelsey, do you have any final thoughts you would like for them to address?
I think you covered it really well. I'm just excited to hear the final thoughts because this one, I have to admit, I am so torn because it's just such a different strategy from each other. I have very similar feelings about both. Like I can see both happening. So it's just which one is the most likely is where I want to.
Who's going to tie it up in a nice little bow? And I like how you guys have both have like the same body language going on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Sometimes the effect for me now is
Snarf. All right, we're going to be going into our closing statements for the second question. We'll be starting with Belford. Are you ready, my dude?
I'm ready.
All right, you have 1 minute on the clock, starting right now.
Okay, so the likelihood of the most dramatic ranking change is going to be corruption because Laura Kelly's going to go far in the Star Wars tournament. Kalinowski's going far in the IG tournament. Chance Ellison is also going to go far in the IG tournament. I have all the faith in the world in him in his comfort zone at home, answering questions. He's done well in his only IG appearance. And also, it's not relying on lower teams to impact how I do. The usual suspects could lose every single game for the match for the rest of the year and could still end up basically in the same spot that they are now because you're relying on, outside of corruption, really kind of like some mismatched teams at the bottom of the bottom of the standings. They might not get any wins either. Also, you have Janine. I have faith in Janine getting wins. Andrew Guy's going to get some wins somewhere along the line, probably maybe in like the first round of a singles tournament. And Sam Levine, if he gets the competitive bug too much, he's just going to come out of retirement and try to win the singles tournament. He gets the wins.
I would love that.
I acquiesce the rest of my time.
I would love that if he came back.
Well, dropping that nugget at the end there. Yes.
If Sam Levine just like popped in and he was like, "Hey, Drew, screw it. I want to be your manager and I want to be your teammate. Let's do it." I would be so excited. Oh my gosh. Can we finally get the manager competitor combo? I know it's not going to happen. I know Christian has said numerous times it's not going to happen, but still, what if? Yes. All right. Over to Bibbs. You also have 1 minute on the clock to argue how the usual suspects are going to have the most dramatic. That's not a word. Dramatic. That's totally a word, guys. Like, yeah. Dramatic ranking change for the worse. You have 1 minute on the clock. Kelsey, you ready?
I'm ready.
Starting now.
Okay, my opponent just said that the usual suspects could lose all of their matches for the rest of the season and stay the same. No, they can't. That would actually move them dramatically down the rankings because other people are going to get up wins and they're going to get a lot of points, and that will dramatically move them downward. And also, a lot of his counter arguments are they're going to go far. There's nothing to argue there. That's just fandom. That's just hoping for the best. We all hope for the best. I'd love it if every match ended in a tie. That would be great. But we have to go with what is likely to happen. And the simple fact is, although maybe they'll do well in the Star Wars tournament, man, that's a short tournament. That's only a couple of wins. They are not situated well for the Intergeekdom tournament. They did not plan to work heavily in IG and Star Wars throughout the whole season because no one knew that's where it was going to land. So they're in a position where they have a lot of people who are either going to have to work outside the wheelhouse and hope for the best and probably not make it because there are a lot of super intense IG players that they're going to be playing against, and then maybe hope there's a cure for a virus and then they can make it up in teams. I think Usual Suspects is going downward.
And time.
I love you, Usual Suspects. I love everyone in the Usual Suspects. Every single one of them. They're nice people. I am so sorry I had to do this. This is the way the game is played. Sam, I love you. Rachel, I love you. You were great managers. Everyone is doing great over there. I hope you all win all your matches.
As the person in charge of C2A clip, that's getting clipped right out for the.
I'm not gonna lie. I do want to reaffirm because I know sometimes, especially when it comes to baiting, this is all the examples and everything, all the hypotheticals and everything that are mentioned today. They are exclusively for these arguments. We're not actually saying this person is gonna do horribly or whatever.
I would ever make in a real life capacity. It's only for this game. I just want to make that clear. I love everyone involved, and it's weird to be put in this situation.
What if if you're not being put in a weird situation, is this Schmoebates at all? No, I don't think so.
I guess not. I mean, you already, it's already weird with the name.
That's true.
It is
very
kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, things happen. What can I say? All right. It's a crazy, crazy world of Schmoebates and Schmoedown out there. Okay, on to our third question. This one I'm super excited about because I watched some ensemble films for the first time incredibly recently. I watched West Side Story or just earlier this week for the first time, and also another Robert Weiss directed film, Sound of Music. Both led by two musical gorgeous ladies named Maria, which is really interesting to see as well.
That is a leitmotif.
Yeah, interesting. Maria seems like a very popular name amongst musicals for sure. But the point is, ensembles and movies is a pretty big thing. And so my thought process was, what if it translated to Schmoedown overall and factions in particular? Specifically, Kelsey, please read the question.
Yes, I'm so excited for this one. Question 3. What movie ensemble would make the best Schmoedown faction? Characters, not actors.
I wanted to specify that as well, just because, if we're talking about like Inglourious Bastards, we're not talking about all the actors involved with it. I just wanted to clarify. We're not talking about Brad Pitt and Eli Roth and Michael Fassbender. We're talking about the characters. We're talking about Aldo Rain, Hans Landa, or whatever the arguments are.
That would be terrible. They'd only know movies going up to like 1945.
Exactly. So I'm glad.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking of one ensemble cast, and that's why I didn't pick them, because I was like, wait, they're not modern. They wouldn't be modern movies.
Yeah, and that would be a great argument, though. If someone picked it, that would be a solid argument. Exactly. Okay, but the point is, some of our favorite movies of all time incorporate huge ensemble cast, ensemble characters that are awesome in every single way, and so I'm excited to see what these choices are. For the third and final question, we'll be using this coin. This is the Action Army coin. If you're a patron of the Action Army to a certain tier, you may have the option of potentially getting this coin. And it's a really wonderful, beautiful coin. Now, before we started recording, we decided that Bibbs is going to be going in on the boom side, but also alternately, Belford chose the 5th. The AMA 5th anniversary side. If you can't see that, there we go. So fancy. All right. So let me go ahead and flip this Very weighty coin. If I can get that set in there. All right. Oh wait, that was a really bad flip. Sorry. It is in favor of the boom.
Ah.
So, my man Bibbs, would you like to go first or defer in your opening
I'll go
statement?
first.
You would like to
I
go
will defer.
first?
Yeah.
Perfect. Kelsey, are you ready on the clock?
I am still ready.
All right, fantastic. Now, I do know that we do have some extra time on our hands. So I am going to give you I'll give you an extra minute and 30 seconds. So it'll be like 1 minute and 30 seconds total, not like 2.5 minutes. So that was my bad. I misspoke that. So you have 1 minute and 30 seconds for your opening statement.
Hold on. Okay, ready.
All right. You have 90 seconds starting right now.
Okay, what movie ensemble would make the best Schmoedown faction? There's a lot of different factors you have to consider. A, do they know their movies? Well, the people I picked know their movies. They've been making movies. They know people in the industry and have for decades. They have firsthand experience beyond anything anyone in the Schmoedown can handle. Are they theatrical? Yes, they put on shows all the time for a living, best-selling, blockbuster shows. Everyone loves them. No one has ever said a bad word about their entertainment value. And will they attract people to the Schmoedown? You bet they will. They are the Muppets. I yield the rest of my time because they're the Muppets.
well, that extra 30 seconds it was useless, but I am so excited to hear more about the Muppets.
Oh, it's so great.
Oh.
I don't want to cry today, but I just might. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. All right, Belford. Can you top it? Let's hear it. Movie ensemble to make the best Schmoedown faction. What is your answer? You had 90 seconds as well. Kelsey, you ready?
I'm ready.
Starting now.
Okay, so again, the importance of the Schmoedown and things that are important in building a Schmoedown faction, first and foremost, is your ability to answer questions about things, specifically movies. That's very important. That's basically the basis of the Schmoedown. If you can't answer questions, you don't last long in the Schmoedown. Also, the ability to talk trash. That's another big part of the Schmoedown. People love good trash talkers. Trash talkers stick around. And so I chose for my movie ensemble the cast of High Fidelity, Rob, Barry, and John from High Fidelity. They work in and own the record store. They're gonna get the scores and soundtrack category on lockdown because they know everything about music, and then also they can transition into knowledge about movies. If you have knowledge about one thing, you know everything about one thing. It helps you be able to learn things about other things. Your ability to learn one thing, it does transition into something else. At the same time, they also recall things. That's one thing that people don't forget about in the Schmoedown. It's not just what you know, it's your ability to recall it. There is a slew of people that have come to the Schmoedown who everyone says is, oh my gosh, this person's going to kill because they know everything about movies and they can't recall anything when it comes to answering the questions. That's all these people do with this movie is recall random things, random music knowledge. It could be movie knowledge as well. Definitely scores and soundtrack.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, Bibbs choosing the Muppets, you're going with focusing on how these Muppets have more firsthand experience within the film industry and working with various film professionals and movie stars and everything. But also, Belford is focusing on the knowledge aspect of it. It's easily transferable knowledge, the ability to recall information on a moment's notice. Obviously, it's required. It's very necessary in Schmoedown overall. I am kind of curious as well is Bibbs. Now, the Muppets is a very big group of Muppets. Essentially, there's a lot of them. I am because Belford did mention the three characters in particular he would go with. I am curious to see what specific Muppets that you would choose in particular to go into the faction. Hypothetically, who would be the manager? Yeah. What leagues they would be playing in as well. All right, Kelsey, what do you think of these picks?
I love these picks so much. Once again, you guys, you couldn't have picked more opposite ways of going about this question.
I love
that so much. And the chat is enjoying the choices. They have their own things they're saying, and they're having fun with it. I am so excited to hear the debate round because this is going to be interesting for sure.
I do think, in spite of this being potentially one of my favorite debates of all time coming up, I have to say Peggy might be winning with her suggestion. Couples match between Spike and Shannon and Kermie and Miss Piggy. I paid hard cash for that match. I have to say I would totally be into that. And also Ryan says, just think of Hannah like Gonzo, ignored by everyone.
How do you, asking for a friend, how do you block someone in our chat?
I can't do that. I'm definitely can.
My friend Brandon Hannah. That's what I'm asking for.
Where he's not even in the chat. Yeah. Is he? Maybe not.
But that person who is speaking ill of him is in the chat. Ban them.
Everyone's speaking ill of him because there's nothing.
Hannah can eat it. Okay. Yep. Okay, but anyway, regardless, I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, but Dean says, now I gotta root against the Muppets since Hannah's part of them now?
No, he's not affiliated with us.
How would you know?
That is not official. Is Hannah made of felt? No.
Possibly. How do you know? Have you
I've shaken the man's hand. He's very fleshy.
But also I think Cam Chat has mentioned, I think would be actually a really solid argument. It's a cast of Clerks would be a really great suggestion. So great choice right there. Definitely, girl.
They can pick that.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. But also at the same time, Hannah sucks even though he's good at impressions, I guess. All right. Okay, we are going to be going.
I might have to leave if this ill speaking of Hannah continues. I will not.
I like Hannah a lot. He's just not affiliated with us.
He started it, so it's fine.
Of course. All right, you guys. I'll give you guys 5 minutes instead of 4 minutes. Okay. This is our last one of the debate today. All right, you guys have 5 minutes to make your arguments in favor of either High Fidelity or the Muppets. 5 minutes starting right now.
Okay, to answer your question, who was in the faction? Obviously, you got Miss Piggy. She'll kick the crap out of anybody if they start losing. Yep. You got Fozzie, who will be the funniest smack talker we've ever had. You got Statler and Waldorf, who will be the best smack talker. They have been talking smack for decades. You've got Gonzo and Rizzo, who have actually experienced being godlike, omniscient beings in the Muppet Christmas Carol. They know everything. Okay, you got Hudson Beaker and Professor Honeydew and Beaker, who are scientists. They know all the information. Because let me tell you something: if you think that knowing a lot about music guarantees that you know a lot about movies, wait until you are a nuclear physicist. You have got Scooter giving TED Talks. Try to get smarter than that, okay? Scooter gives TED Talks. That is the end-all, be-all of that. And here's the other problem.
It's not the knowledge, it's the recall. The Muppets have not proven that they can recall, I don't know, anything. They keep losing things
High Fidelity has They always win in the end, which means they're going to win at Spectacular. They always win at the end, which means they're going to win everything at Spectacular. And if we're going off of precedent, when have the people in High Fidelity shown that they know anything about movies? When have the people
scores and soundtracks?
Scores and soundtracks is one category. You cannot win a Schmoedown with one category. You cannot win a Schmoedown with one category.
Anything about anything.
They make movies. They know literally everybody in the industry. Kermit is a director, for God's sake. And let me tell you something. When you talk about what's the best faction, it's not exclusively about who's going to win. The Wild Berries are one of the best teams in Schmoedown history.
Prove it.
The Wild Berries are one of the best teams in Schmoedown history. The Wild Berries are one of the best teams in Schmoedown history. The Wild Berries are one of the best teams in Schmoedown history, even though they don't necessarily win all the time. That is the Muppets for you, because it goes beyond will they win. It is possible to win and not be popular. The Muppets go beyond. The Muppets will go beyond. The Muppets will go. Yes, it is. If they're the Muppets will attract more people to the Schmoedown than we've ever before. Have we ever had 1 million likes on a video? The Muppets will get us there. A couple of music nerds from a store that's failing in downtown LA do not.
We've had celebrities before and didn't get 1 million likes.
Were they Muppets?
Who cares about the Muppets? We're talking about
Who cares about the Muppets? Disney cares about the Muppets. They spent a fortune on the Muppets.
Oh, wow.
The Muppets made millions of dollars every single time they put out a movie. The Muppets make millions of dollars every single time.
Okay. I do want to pause for a second. For a hot
second. More money, High Fidelity or the Muppets?
Okay, pause for a hot second. Okay, now it sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of feelings, and I'm so excited for this. A lot of energy, so many feelings. I know that's like my catchphrase. So many feelings, guys. So many feelings. My emotions. It sounds like Belford is arguing. Okay, so you're layering a lot as far as using the transferable knowledge. I haven't really heard you make specific arguments going into that, aside from that any of that transferable knowledge for the music and soundtracks. Outside of that, I would kind of curious to see how that would work. But also with the Muppets, I want to hear from because I didn't really hear a solid follow-up from you on how, because he kept bringing up, they're proven throughout most of the movies that they're proven to be very forgetful, like all the time. Like, how effective is that going to be within Schmoedown? But also at the same time, you did mention that, if they're involved, they're going to win inevitably. And so I kind of want you to expand on that a little bit. Like, we can't just assume because our Muppets are going to win. We need something a little more than that. We want to hear just how skilled are they, as far as like when it comes to movie and entertainment.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Going back into it. Yes. I just wanted to hear, because you guys were talking over each other a little bit.
You gotta realize,
go ahead.
No, okay. You got to realize we're talking about the characters in the movie. We're not talking about a specific version of the Muppets. The Muppets break the fourth wall. The Muppets are all-knowing. The Muppets have actually, look at Gonzo and Rizzo in The Christmas Carol. They are literally omniscient. We are talking about godlike beings who can know what they need to know when the time is right to know it. And on top of it, I'm telling you, man, if they forget Cameron Diaz was in, I don't know, Bad Teacher or whatever, they bring out Cameron Diaz. And like, hey, Cameron, were you in that? Yes, done. Boom, Muppets. Muppets for the win. Muppets all the time.
What are we doing?
Muppets everywhere.
Arguments? What are we doing here?
I'm just talking, man. You can talk. You can talk. It's all good. Yeah.
What is going on here?
We're just arguing more.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
No.
Yeah.
I was making my point. I was answering their question, which is
yes,
on top of the fact that the Muppets. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that omniscience is bannable in the Schmoedown.
I have read the rules. That is not in there. I have read the rules cover to cover.
Omniscient into the Schmoedown, because that defeats the purpose of the Schmoedown. If you're omniscient,
no, because you said that they're forgetful. They'll make it interesting. They might even lose a match or two, but they'll pull it out at the end.
Anything else? I was trying to think of the movie where they recall stuff. Clerks was off my radar, but I got to High Fidelity. They do recall, and they talk a lot of smack. And the Muppets aren't talking any smack unless
Statler and Waldorf invented smack. Statler and Waldorf, literally the only reason they exist is to talk smack.
They're social distancing,
which means they know more information. You have guys who are in their 40s. You have guys who are in their 40s and have learned nothing but music that entire time. The Muppets have been learning nothing about cinema for the last 50 years. For the last 50 years, they've been in the entertainment industry, learning everything they can. Your guys have been stuck in their apartment listening to the same records over and over.
Half of them can't speak
It's not about the beta band. That's not the half. That's not the half that's on my faction. That's not the half that's on my faction. The half that's on my faction.
Screams and yells and stuff.
Yeah, and she's the damn star who hosted her own talk show. She knows all of these people back and forth. They are professionals. They are professionals. They will take it seriously, and they will be hilarious in the process. And yeah, they're going to win some matches. And beyond that, it goes beyond that. They're going to draw attention to the Schmoedown, and that's important.
Are they?
Yes.
How was the box office last time?
Okay.
It did great.
Did it?
Yeah.
I think we need to do a quick yoga session, do some meditation, do some deep breathing.
Yeah, yogurt session. Yeah.
All right,
like an Egyptian, maybe.
I like mixed berry. Is there mixed berry an option?
Okay, I Okay, there is a lot going on there. I'm just going to move over to the chats real quickly while I attempt to collect my thoughts. Miss Movie says there are so many loud voices. Loud voices. Karen says I'm Belford Avenue at this point. Yeah. But reaffirming the loud noises as well. Okay. So, but Robert Adams, if you can understand the Muppets, it's because they do not speak English. Then learn Swedish.
That's a good point. We want an international audience.
Interesting.
I don't understand
Very
accent
interesting.
either, though, so it's fine from Robert Adams.
Yes. We also have several other people, mentioning, right away, Peggy saying, "Hey, Bibbs won the moment she said the Muppets just concede."
There's a reason I yielded my time.
I don't think she understands what Schmoebates is.
Now, I do want to reaffirm that I don't want you to vote specifically because you think one person here is cooler than the other because you like one person.
Cool.
No,
I'm the least
because if you're part of the Action Army and you're like Belford is the most iconic human being of all time, he is going to be ascended into Schmoedown heaven, or to Bibbs as well. I am obsessed with Quay Johndrew and everything he's doing over with the Corky Mercs. Don't vote for Bibbs just because of their awesome people and all the awesome things they're doing. Vote for them because of their arguments. Okay. So we want to focus exclusively on the arguments and how well they did, and also counter arguments as well. Now Ryan is also made a suggestion as well. I have the winning answer, the cast of the Matrix. Just download everything into their noggins, into their minds.
There you go. That would have been a good idea. I'm not going to lie.
that would be
a good idea. That would have been good. I would have thought of that. Yeah, no, I would have gone with the Muppets anyway.
It's a great one. It really is. Okay, now Okay, now like I mentioned, Jake is going to be posting the votes here in just a few moments, but we do have for our closing statements as well. Each of these competitors have 1 minute to make their closing statements. And Bibbs, the coin did toss in your favor, so you are going to go first for this one, for the closing statement. Now, you have 1 minute to really wrap it up and argue in favor of yours. I am kind of curious to hear, like you mentioned, about the actual skill set, a little bit more, the really tangible skill set that they have in order to really be successful in Schmoedown, especially. So let's hear it. You have 1 minute on the clock, starting right now.
Okay, so the Muppets, they bring a lot of star power. I've already said that, but they also bring a lot of knowledge. Not only have they worked with various people from Star Wars, not only have they done Star Wars parodies, Gonzo is literally from space. It doesn't get more inner geekdom than that. They're going to do really, really great at that. For Smack Talk, Statler and Waldorf have got that covered. Boom, you're done. Awesome. Pepe the Prawn to be a great manager. It allows Kermit and Miss Piggy to play together, and that's going to be a huge draw as well. The other thing that I think we're not talking about is you're asking me, hey, who's going to be on the Muppets roster? I've got so many people, I could fill it over a dozen times. He's got 3. 3 people on a Schmoedown roster. That is 3 people on a Schmoedown roster. That is it. I have got so many Muppets, I don't even know what to do with them. I'm going to bring them all in for music numbers every single time they enter the stage. It's going to be glorious. The Muppets. They're the Muppets. The Muppets. The Muppets. The Muppets, the Muppets, the Muppets. Yay!
I had no idea how much I needed that in that moment. That was wonderful. Okay, now over to you, Belford. High Fidelity is a movie about knowledge snobs. They're hipster music snobs, and they know everything when it comes to music. And I really want to hear. I am really curious to hear. Like you said, having like you said, he's able to kind of fill his roster like pretty efficiently. But you have 3 solid human competitors that are really quick to do a lot of things, arguably much more efficiently when it comes to Schmoedown. So I'm really curious to hear your arguments as well. Now you have 1 minute on the clock to argue in favor of High Fidelity. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, starting right now.
So in this season of the Schmoedown has taught us that you really don't need more than maybe 3 or 4 competitors on your faction, and you could be in first place. Because outside of the Barbarians win, which is very impressive, they'd still be in first place, and that's 4. Okay, so it's 1 more than 3. You got 3 of the best, you can be in the top. You can be number 1. You can win the Schmoedown. Meanwhile, the Wildberries and Felt can run around and do their thing and yell around and scream, and I don't know if they drink or not. Maybe they do. Maybe they enjoy a nice Chardonnay, but they're not winning anything. They barely. You can't understand half of them. Half of them fly off the handle at a moment's notice from just I'm just going to eat bacon as I walk into the studio, and that's going to end that challenge. And it's the ability to recall. That's the thing. And also, outside of the 2 old guys, none of them talk smack. I like more smack talk. That's what the 3 guys from High Fidelity do, is they talk smack the whole time while answering questions about trivia.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Wildberries and Felt is a saying I need in my life, and I also need that on a shirt for the next Schmoedown live event. That needs to happen.
That's like an argument in my favor. I don't know. That's not great.
I'm not gonna
make people into Muppets on the Muppet Show. Can you imagine Makuga as a Muppet? That sounds amazing.
I think Makuga is a Muppet.
Yeah,
I would need Makuga, and I also need the Muppet version of Mark Ellis. That would be
that one.
Ellis would be a good
100%. 100%. Would Ellis be just an actual giant carrot, or would he be like a human?
That would be hilarious.
Like an actual felt version of himself, like Jim Parsons in the Muppet movie.
This needs to be a Schmoebate question in the future. Which Schmoedown competitor would make the best Muppet?
Noted.
Yeah.
What?
Don't give it to me. Give it to someone else. Mix it up. But yeah.
I'll have you on to be the judge for that.
Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Now, something you brought up, Belford, that I'm sorry?
I said it could be next week when I play Danielle.
We'll see. Now, something I was kind of curious. I actually thought you made an excellent point. Now more than ever, like you said, a great faction doesn't always need more players. If you have a core few, you can still succeed. Emphasizing, the Finstock exchange which is an excellent example.
I'm with the rule that says you have to have a minimum number of players, though. I actually don't remember that.
But that wasn't mentioned.
I mean, everyone's got 10 now. I think it's encouraged. So I'm not sure if it's encouraged or
actually.
Wasn't the
rule you had to have at least 8, I think, after.
Well, there's my argument right there.
Well, too bad it wasn't mentioned during the argument.
And throw them in the faction and fill out the roster. We'll be on auto draft after the first 3 rounds.
Trash Panda also suggests the movie guys would be great Muppets.
Oh my God, they'd be
absolutely.
Muppets. They would be. They have like beer hats. That'd be great.
I could totally picture Roka as a Muppet, 100%. Like old man Roka trying to be a Muppet. I
feel like he'd be a Muppet villain. Like he would come like Yosemite Sam, come in with the big hat,
like the Chris Cooper version. Yeah. Remember, in that when he raps.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Okay.
Oh my God, I want to see Roka rap.
Oh,
you ever rap? I want to see him.
I don't know.
Right
we
now.
can.
Make that happen.
No,
that is entrance of the year right there. If he raps, that is entrance of the year in a bag. Just done. Tie it all up.
He has sang Disney songs with karaoke.
We had enough problems with Atlanta and then various names for that city that were used. Okay. Let's not wade into those waters with Roka rapping.
Okay.
I honestly think he could succeed. Also, I know for a fact that he would love the idea of being turned into a Muppet. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, I would love to turn into a Muppet.
That would be a dream. I interviewed Kermit once. That was a dream come true.
I would cry.
Yeah. It was cool. I got to ask him a question that's been bugging me my whole life, which was when Jason took Manhattan, did he have to take it from the Muppets? I didn't actually phrase it like that. I asked, are you ever going to take Manhattan back from Jason Voorhees? And Kermit said he can keep it. And I thought that was a smart play.
Now, I do want to mention, guys, that you can vote right now on Twitter. Really see if I can pull it up. Yeah, right here on Twitter to determine who is going to be our winner. Now, you guys have 10 minutes to let us know where you're at. It's actually, I think technically now it's been a few minutes. Actually, probably another 6 minutes.
Okay. I'm just going to play Candy Crush. So.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we do have Streamlabs open if you have any questions, or what do you think, competitor to Schmoedown, or whoever maybe personality-wise, that you would love to see as Muppets. So I'm kind of curious as well. The link is in the description box right here, streamlabs.com/call-to-action podcast. So that'd be pretty darn cool if you.
Ethan Irwin would be a great Muppet.
Yeah, he would. I'm telling you, man, they'd all be great Muppets. Janine would make a great Muppet. Sam would make a great Muppet.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think Bateman would make a great Muppet. Like, there's.
Are you kidding? You would be the best Muppet.
He's like the bad boyfriend of the love interest of the main character.
Can we encourage like some enterprising young Schmoedown artist? And I don't want you to do this for free if you can't afford to, and it's a time consuming thing. But I would love to see Muppet versions of the whole Schmoedown crew. Like, can you imagine that as a shirt?
That would be the coolest shirt.
Who would buy that shirt? I'd buy that shirt. That'd be the coolest thing ever. But seriously, don't go out of your way. I don't want anyone working for free when they don't have to. But yeah, that would be the coolest thing. I want that
right now.
Yeah. Like everyone should get a shirt with them as a Muppet on it. That'd be cool.
Oh, Dan Merle Muppet.
Yes, just comes with that.
I want to be Dr. Teeth.
Flannel on felt.
EY Geekness says Ben Bateman is Sam the Eagle.
I can see that. I can see that.
Who is Sam the Eagle? I can't remember.
I mean, he's the big blue eagle. Once it comes out and says, "You're all weirdos."
No, he reminds me of Merle, if anything.
Let me ask you a question. I'm curious. I've always wanted to be a Gonzo, but I feel like I'm more likely a Fozzie or an animal. Who do you think I am as a Muppet?
Which one's Fozzie? I can't remember.
Bear with the hat who makes the bad jokes.
Fozzie.
Yeah, I can live with that.
I love Fozzie.
I love Fozzie too.
But yeah, Fozzie's pretty fantastic.
Is the Waka 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 of the Schmoedown.
It kind of is. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Fozzie is also like one. I think he's like also the heart of the Muppets.
I
think he is. Like
in many ways, he is. Yeah.
He is. He totally is. You know,
he's
everyone.
The spirit of vaudeville. You know, like this old-fashioned kind of entertainment that the Muppets have been keeping alive, even though in many ways it's kind of dead. Otherwise, like he's the spirit of that. So I think, yeah, he's the heart.
Nerds in Suits actually responded. I think Nerds in Suits, as in Ben Bateman himself.
Ben Bateman.
I need a Belford T-shirt. This guy is a legend.
I would wear that shirt.
I was wearing my Ben Bateman T-shirt earlier with his face on it, but
nice.
That is also a very legendary shirt.
I can easily see everyone within Schmoedown as a Muppet. And then it would be the entire conversation would be, am I a man or am I a Muppet? Am I a Muppet?
Brett would be a great Muppet.
He would be a fantastic
Brett would be.
Yeah.
Flirtin' Flouse is a Muppet.
So good. Oh my gosh, Ben, can you sing that song on your show?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Do you have Bibbs? Do you watch Nerds and Suits? Oh my goodness.
I try to watch a little bit of everyone's shows, but everyone has so many shows I don't have time to watch literally everything.
That's
Plus, I'm
totally
making
fair.
like 12 podcasts a week, so I'm doing what I can. And I like
very,
the show.
very true.
I'm disappointed that there aren't more suits. I feel like you should be required to wear a suit to be on that show. But that's my only criticism. Otherwise, it's wonderful.
There's a lot of suits. There's a lot of nerds. That's absolutely true. He has one show in particular on his Ben's channel where he actually sings famous songs from movies, and he really kind of dives into why that scene in particular is important. So he's talked about, he's actually saying, "I Want to Grow Old with You" from The Wedding Singer. He's done a few other songs, but they're really fun and really cool to do. But I would love
done Cats yet?
Sorry, which one?
Has he done Cats yet?
Have you? Yeah, I don't think so.
You should do Cats, Ben. I want an entire month that's just failed movie musicals. I want Cats, and I want Xanadu.
Oh,
okay?
God.
I want Can't Stop the Music, and I
Rock
want
of
the
Ages.
Apple. Rock of Ages is the Rock of Ages is actually good songs when they're outside of Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm talking about like the embarrassing
song from a scene. Thank you,
these
Lucas.
famous movies. Yeah.
The song from a scene.
Yeah.
I also do want to know specifically, is Xanadu the last actual like role of Gene Kelly?
Yes. That was his send off. And you know what? He's good in it. Like it's not a good movie, but first off, I will say this: the soundtrack slaps. The soundtrack on its own is a good album. It slaps. It's if one were to slap, it would do the slapping. But like,
so it's not like Orson Welles and Transformers.
It's not quite that embarrassing because on top of that being a movie, which is I know a lot of kids like it, but it's just chaos. Like you could put anyone in that role and it wouldn't have mattered. He did that just for money. He just did that in order to get some of his independent features finances. Gene Kelly is actually acting in Xanadu, and he's very sweet in it. So it's not as bad as people give it credit for, but it's kind of dull. And it doesn't work, and the music's better than the film. However, Xanadu came out the first year of the Razzie Awards, and it lost the Razzie Award for Worst Picture to another disco musical called Can't Stop the Music, which was all about the formation of the Village People. And let me tell you something. That movie is hilarious and actually kind of on its own terms. Like, it's really fun. So if you want to see a good bad movie, it's really, really entertaining.
And do members of the Village People, do they actually like it?
I don't actually know if they like it, but they were in it.
Oh, that's fair.
So but there's a ton of really fabulous musical numbers.
They released it at least.
Yeah, they released it. There was anyway, it's a hoot. It's a fun watch. It is more fun to watch Can't Stop the Music than it is to watch Xanadu, but Xanadu has a better soundtrack.
Oh. That's probably definitely a really great conversation of bad musicals, great songs.
Yeah.
When it comes to it.
Actually, yeah.
Okay, so we did have another one, Trash Panda. He mentioned Brendan Meyer would be a fantastic new Muppet. Walter from 2011 film. Yeah.
Yes, he would. He'd be wonderful. That kid's the best.
He's so cool.
Yeah. I miss him. I haven't seen him since the quarantine started. I miss him so much.
He was like we had him on. He was on Schmoebates actually just a few weeks ago, and he's just so much fun. He's so delightful. I love the dude for sure. Okay, I am in the middle of getting the info and everything from Jake, so I'm excited to see. Give me a hot minute.
Wait, you rely on the guy from Alabama for math? Fair enough.
He copied and pasted. How dare you? How dare you?
Take that, Alabama. What is that?
I grew up there, so.
Okay, you're allowed. That's fine.
It's not our strong suit. We don't claim it. It's like we're bragging about our math skills.
Is math skills like something to like really intensely like argue? Like brag about?
In Alabama, no. In Massachusetts, probably.
Okay.
It's that Massachusetts.
Like MIT or something like that. I don't know. That's like a math school.
Oh, it's kind of rough. We have our winner. Fortunately, unfortunately, I love hanging out with you guys today, but unfortunately, one of you guys are going to have to leave. And one of you guys is going to be moving on to the next round with bragging rights. It's going to be going up against Danielle Ramirez here in the next few weeks.
That's scary.
For question number 1, in a championship match, which round is the most important? With 74% of the vote in favor of the speed round with Bibbs.
Yay! Speed round. Speed round is. However, I will say this. When I played a match against Mark Andraco, he smoked me the entire speed round, and I still won the match. So you had a good argument. But betting round also can be unimportant as well. So
yeah,
whatever. It was a tough one, and I think both of those were the two right answers. I almost picked sudden death because if you get to sudden death, of course, it's the most important round. But I thought that was kind of just.
It's also not in every championship round.
I'm not gonna lie.
In every championship match. So
exactly. No, I would have lost that all the way. Yeah.
All right, and question number 2.
It's such a crapshoot round 5, so it's
agreed.
Yeah, it's a real hitter. Yeah, it can be iffy sometimes. And question number 2: which faction is most likely to have the most dramatic ranking change with a cool 51% of the vote in favor of corruption.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was. I'm
Meaning
actually surprised it was that close.
Sorry, Billy, not Bibbs. Sorry, my bad.
I'm actually surprised it was that close. That was like the only good answer to that question. I struggled to think of something else to argue because it's clearly corruption is the answer to that. They've just been biding their time. You've been so right.
It does feel like it is just a matter of time with that faction. You know, I know everyone. Yeah, I remember being like super nervous for them for a long while, but once like them coming up, I was like, obviously these people are going to go up to this level, and you know whatever it might be. Anyway, for our final question,
the nerves went away.
Our final question being, what movie ensemble would make the best Schmoedown faction? Characters, not actors. With 72% of the vote.
Oh, 72% Muppet fans.
It is the Muppets with Bibbs.
Yeah!
Winning! And your winner, William the Beast Bibbiani, is moving on to the second round to go up against Danielle Ramirez.
So a little behind the curtain, I was trying to think of Clerks. That was what I wanted to pick.
No!
I never get to Clerks.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, it's a movie where they all sit around talking about movies. Like, why would... it must be High Fidelity. I don't know what I'm doing.
The first one I thought of was actually Reservoir Dogs, which would have been a good.
That whole opening.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would have been okay. But yeah, I think once I thought of Muppets, I'm like, oh yeah, Muppets, done. I don't even need. I can just say Muppets and then call it a day.
You kind of did just say Muppets.
Yeah.
You yielded a minute of your time back to she gave us 30 extra seconds. You just used the 30 seconds that she gave you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm done. That's it.
Hey, you also got an extra 30 seconds I have, you know.
And I used every second to try to somehow argue that the Muppets weren't going to win.
And a noble effort.
You could have given me 15 extra minutes and I wasn't going to convince people that the Muppets weren't going to win.
Well, okay. Last night I argued for the generals for the generals debate for best trilogy of all time. I was going up against Sergio Leone's Dollar trilogy. I went up against the original Star Wars trilogy, as well as the Nolan Batman trilogy. And I won somehow with the Before trilogy by Richard Linklater.
That's a good pick.
I try.
That's a really good pick.
I try to think outside the box.
It's very consistent. I mean,
that's the winner. Yeah. It is consistent.
And it's a concise story. It's a story, a trilogy told in three parts.
And there's no controversy of it. There's no one that people say isn't as good as the others. It's just all great.
But also I barely won, even though I barely won that debate because one of the questions at the very end was, what is the worst trilogy sequel of all time? And my competitor chose Attack of the Clones, and I said Big Mama's House, like father, like son.
That's I think 2 is worse, but that's fair. I would have gone with Rise of Skywalker, but anyway,
it was a little intense, yeah. But yeah, sometimes it comes down to not only the debate itself, but just like the most ridiculous answer. Yeah. So the two, again, very different approaches to picking these answers. So that means, Bibbs, you're going to be moving on to the next round. You're going to be going up against Danielle Ramirez, and I just want to pull it up real quickly. Here it is. If you look on here in this little bracket here, James White and Ben Bateman, they're going to be going up against each other next Wednesday. And William the Beast Bibbiani is going up against our very own C2A's Chilled Actions, Danielle Ramirez, here pretty soon. Now, please ignore the dates. That's totally fine. But actually, scratch that. The dates are correct now that I think about it. But on the very end, they are correct. But we are going to be going ahead and scheduling some other soon. You know, when we can get together and get those dates together. But a date might be present in this room today. So we'll see. We'll see. Is it going to be Bibbs? It's going to be Danielle. It's going to be Ben Bateman. It's going to be James White. We shall see.
It's going to be Danielle.
Oh, where's the confidence, my dude?
I just finished the Schmoebate. All my confidence is gone. I'm done now.
Oh, gosh.
I used it all up for the last hour and a half. You worn me down.
The final.
Yeah.
Okay, well, going into the next one, I know, like you said, your confidence is shot. You used all that Schmoebate energy, like you said, specifically. How do you feel about moving on to the next round?
Listen, it's a lot of pressure, and I'm gonna do my best. Danielle is a fearsome opponent, and yeah, I'm gonna try, but it's kind of like when I went up against Dan Merle. It's just sort of just like, I could lose. This
But
could
also,
happen.
alternatively, she could lose. So.
That's theoretically possible, but let's not go nuts.
Hurting my heart, Bibbs. Hurting my heart.
What?
Now, Belford,
I'm supportive.
Belford, your record is currently still, you are a really high-ranked competitor. You're sitting at 2 and now 1 with 3 debates under your belt officially. Is there anyone in particular? I'm sorry? No, you won against
number 1 in Star Wars division at 2 and 1.
Is there any, because there's been quite a few competitors that have lost in the past, but are still obviously really great. Is there anyone in particular you would love to see? You would love to compete against?
There's some little guy running around here, running his mouth about it. And he's known by some sort of letters or something like that. And he tried to talk all kinds of smack that he should have been in the Schmoebates Tournament of Champions.
Why would he, though?
I don't know.
He's never even played a Schmoebate match.
Apparently, he's undefeated in Schmoebates. I don't know. He's 1-0 or
competed in a Schmoebate match.
That means undefeated.
That does mean undefeated.
If you've never played, you've never been defeated.
Okay.
It's true.
Can't argue that. That's true.
No, it's true.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing,
Denuzio guy.
So you want to go up against Denuzio? I can see that.
Or Bateman when he inevitably loses to James White.
Oh.
I'm sensing some smack and some talking. I'm hearing it.
I'll bet Ben Bateman has dedicated like 20 hours to preparing for that. He's probably hired private detectives, like follow James White around
for 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah, totally a thing.
I would say there are some people in the chat that are, real quick to say, just reaffirming, hey, Wildberries and Felt.
Someone named Trash Panda. That is fantastic.
Yes.
Someone named Trash Panda said Wildberries and Felt.
It's like Can Chef says, I am a mess. Peggy, I can relate to what Bibbs is saying 100% of the time, but I adore that quote and hope to rebuild. Yes. So and PLD comes back to when it was Schmoebates was a segment, not a show. So yeah.
So it doesn't count. Cool.
Yeah.
So you have no wins in actual Schmoebate.
I also won
and
when
no
it was
losses.
pre-Schmoebates as
And
well.
no losses.
So what I'm hearing is, if anything, Paul needs to potentially work up to you.
Pretty much. He's never been on my level, so.
I agree. He has never been on your level, for sure.
He's been on
Okay.
my coattails, but never on my level.
Okay, now that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us and really kind of watching these fine people debate and watching Kelsey and I attempt to stay sane through these arguments today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, though. For future reference, Kelsey, my love, my darling, my ever lovely, where can we find you and everything you're doing?
All right, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. Also on the Call to Action Podcast Instagram, so you can interact with me there. TeePublic, we've got merch. Check it out. We also have face masks. If you want to Call to Action face mask, it exists, so you can get it there. And I do have a YouTube channel as well. Just search my name, Kelsey Kirkland. Click on my face and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it.
So what a pretty face it is. What an awesome face for sure. And over to you, Bibbs. You're doing a million one things with your Million One podcast, with not only, Whitney, but beyond. And so where can we find you and everything you're doing?
Okay, yeah. So I'm at the Critically Acclaimed Network. That is the name of our podcast. You can find that wherever fine podcasts are podcasted. We have Critically Acclaimed, where we review new movies. We've got Mail, where we answer your emails. We've got Episode 0, where we review films that are the prehistory of Star Wars. We're recording later tonight an episode about Casablanca and how that influenced Star Wars. Looking forward to that. We got Canceled Too Soon, where we review TV shows that lasted only one season or less. Over at our Patreon, patreon.com/Critically Acclaimed Network, we have a ton of exclusive shows. We have a show dedicated exclusively to Firefly. We have a show dedicated exclusively to every single Star Trek episode ever filmed. We're doing them in production order, one every week. We've got Not on Disney Plus, where we talk about all the stuff that Disney could have put on Disney Plus and is refusing to for some reason. We've got Only the Best. We review every single movie ever nominated for Best Picture. We've got a ton of other exclusive content there as well. So that's patreon.com/Critically Acclaimed Network. They are at Critic Acclaim, and I am at William Bibbiani on Twitter, although I am taking a break from social media at the moment.
Yes, very, very true. Taking those breaks are incredibly necessary for the soul to recover, to recuperate. So take that break, enjoy it. Absolutely. And also you can find him on Twitter, and, here is him on Patreon. I know I personally am a patron of that group, and there's so much stuff on there. It's really, really cool. I'm saying this genuinely, not just to kiss ass, but when I say it, there's a lot of content on there. I like the one where you guys talk about, I know it was you had a Star Wars episode recently where you just talked about there were the Star Wars production people. They were like, no, we don't want to recycle sound effects. We want to make new sound effects.
Yeah,
and so they had to get creative. And so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's one of the revolutionary things that movie did. Yeah, it's really cool.
So I mean, especially there was one referencing the baby scream or something.
The Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, the Wilhelm scream.
We talked about the origin of the Wilhelm scream. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the most famous sound effects in movie history. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's after you said that, I started I Googled it and was like, where else can I hear it? And I saw 50 movies just it was just nonstop for a bit, which is pretty cool. And over to you, Belford. Where can we find you, everything you're doing, and seeing your beautiful, amazing face?
I'm just at Mr. Billy Belford on Twitter. You can find me and all my musings there about stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, man, dude, cool.
The essence of communication is brevity. Mr. Belford, I just want to say thank you so much. It has been an honor to play you. You've been a fearsome opponent, and this has been a lot of fun. So thank you for that.
For sure. Yes, sir.
Amazing people present. And I am Alex Mac, part of the Call to Action crew. You can find me on Twitter, running the Call to Action podcast Twitter account, Call to Action Pod. And you can find me at @real_Alex Mac. Everything is in the description box below. Please give us a like there. I also co-host Cinema Bias with Video Drew, where we dive into our personal movie biases and movies. Why, it comes to genres, directors, whatever it may be, and really dive into movies one of us loves and the other one has never seen. This week, we're going to be diving into 1995's Alfonso Cuarón's A Little Princess.
Ooh.
And yes, I love that movie. And she's never seen it before, so I'm so excited.
That movie's wonderful. That's great. I still think that's his best movie. I know people don't agree with me.
It's so underrated. People don't talk about it enough. And watching it, I remember watching that movie not when I was a kid and being like, this movie is special and I don't understand why. So, we really kind of dive into our movie, like I mentioned, our movie biases. Everyone has them and sometimes we don't like to admit it. So it's really cool to really kind of chat that up with Drew. But yeah, go check it out on her page at Video Drew YouTube channel. And please subscribe, and we'll see you next week with Ben versus James White on that Schmoebate. See you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.